HOA Karen shuts off my electricity. Then watch her house burn down. Imagine living next to someone who constantly complains about everything you do, and one night they decide to take matters into their own hands. But before that fateful night, the tension had been building for years. This is a story about a neighbor named Karen who has been a thorn in my side for years. She complained about my lights, my Christmas decorations, and even monitored my movements. But it all started with her constant shouting and threats. "You need to turn off those lights. They're disturbing the whole neighborhood. And what's with all these Christmas decorations? It's like you're trying to blind everyone." Karen, I understand your concerns, but these lights are within the neighborhood guidelines. And as for the Christmas decorations, they're just a way to celebrate the holiday season. Guidelines? You think you're above the law? Those lights are shining right into my living room, and your decorations are an eyesore. You're ruining the aesthetic of this neighborhood. I understand that we have different tastes, Karen, but I assure you, I'm not trying to disturb anyone. Perhaps we can discuss this further and find a solution that works for both of us. You'd better watch yourself. I won't hesitate to take action if you don't comply. Me, smiling calmly, I appreciate your passion, Karen, but I'm confident that we can resolve this without any issues. But little did she know, her actions would lead to a dramatic turn of events that would change everything. Before I continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comments section. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribe button for more gripping stories. Have you ever had a neighbor like Karen? How would you handle such a situation? I've always been someone who values peace and harmony in my community. Growing up, I learned the importance of being a good neighbor and respecting those around me. However, living next to Karen has been a challenge. Despite her constant complaints, I've tried to maintain a positive attitude and find ways to resolve our issues amicably. I've always believed that a little kindness can go a long way, but with Karen, it seemed like no matter how hard I tried, she always found something to complain about. Our neighborhood is a quiet, suburban area where everyone knows each other. It's the kind of place where you can leave your doors unlocked and feel safe walking down the street at night. However, Karen's behavior has started to disrupt this sense of community. This is a neighborhood where we all look out for each other, but Karen's actions have created tension and made some of us feel uneasy. Karen is a force to be reckoned with. She's always been vocal about her opinions, often to the point of being confrontational. Her complaints about my lights and decorations were just the beginning. Karen, those lights are an eyesore. You're ruining the aesthetic of this neighborhood. Me, calmly, I understand your concerns, Karen, but I believe they add to the festive atmosphere. Karen, raising her voice, "Festive atmosphere? You're disturbing the peace. I'll report you to the Homeowners Association if you don't turn them off." As time went on, Karen's complaints escalated. She started monitoring my movements, questioning my guests, and even threatened to call the police if I didn't comply with her demands. It got to the point where I felt like I was being watched all the time. Her constant threats and complaints made me feel like I was walking on eggshells. Karen, in a threatening tone, "You're going to regret not listening to me. Mark my words." I understand that we have differences, Karen, but I hope we can resolve this without any further issues. How far would you go to address a neighbor's constant complaints? Would you try to find a compromise, or would you stand your ground? It was a typical evening, with the neighborhood bathed in darkness. I was watching television when my security camera system alerted me to some unusual activity outside. I opened the app and was shocked to see Karen sneaking into my yard. She was wearing a long, dark coat, and her movements were stealthy, like a professional thief. She began unscrewing each light bulb with precision, and then she opened the electrical box and cut the power to my outdoor lights. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Karen had finally taken matters into her own hands, but she had no idea what she was getting herself into. "Karen, let's see what you can do now." I laughed. Little did she know, she had just set off a chain of events that would change everything. As it turned out, Karen had forgotten a crucial detail. Our houses shared an electrical connection. When she cut the power to my house, she also affected her own. Her electric stove was set to turn on automatically whenever the power was restored, and she had left a pan of oil on it. Unbeknownst to her, the stove turned back on when the power returned, and the oil began to boil. It was around 2 a.m. when the fire started. The oil had dried up, and the wooden cabinets above the stove caught fire. Karen was fast asleep, completely unaware of the danger unfolding in her kitchen. Karen panicked. "Fire! Fire! Someone help me!" As the fire spread, Karen finally woke up to the smell of smoke. She rushed downstairs, but it was too late. The kitchen was engulfed in flames. The fire quickly spread, and neighbors who saw the flames called the fire department. Karen managed to escape her house, crying for help as she watched her kitchen burn. By the time the firefighters arrived, the kitchen was destroyed, but they managed to stop the fire from spreading further. Neighbor 1. "We saw the flames and immediately called the fire department. It was terrifying." Neighbor 2. "We're just glad no one was seriously hurt. It could have been much worse." The fire led to a series of investigations and meetings. The insurance company came to assess the damage, and that's when things took a turn for Karen. "Mrs. Thompson, it appears that your fire alarm system was disabled. This is not covered under your policy." Karen: "It wasn't my fault. I didn't mean for this to happen." Me, smiling, but the evidence told a different story. The security footage showed Karen cutting the power, which led to the fire. Neighbor 3. "We've had enough of Karen's behavior. It's time for her to face the consequences." What would you do if you discovered your neighbor's actions had caused a fire in their own home? Would you try to help them, or would you let them face the consequences of their actions? The insurance company's investigation into the fire was thorough. They reviewed the security footage, which clearly showed Karen cutting the power to my house, unaware that it would also affect her own. This evidence was crucial in their decision to deny her claim. Insurance investigator: "Mrs. Thompson, it appears that your actions led directly to the fire. Unfortunately, this means we cannot cover the damages under your policy." Karen, defensively: "That's not fair. I didn't mean for this to happen." I understand that accidents can happen, but the evidence speaks for itself. It's about taking responsibility for our actions. Insurance investigator: "We understand that this is a difficult situation, but our policy clearly states that damages resulting from negligence or intentional acts are not covered." This incident brought to light several important themes: justice, responsibility, and community. Karen's actions not only affected her own life but also impacted the neighborhood. It showed us that our actions have consequences and that we must be mindful of how they affect those around us. Neighbor 1. "It's a wake-up call for all of us. We need to think about how our actions affect the community." Neighbor 2. "I feel sorry for Karen, but she needs to learn from this. We all do." In the end, it's about accountability. Karen's actions led to her own downfall, but it also taught us the importance of being responsible neighbors. Looking back, this experience has been a roller coaster of emotions. From the initial shock of the fire to the final decision by the insurance company, it's been a journey of discovery. We've learned that justice can be served in unexpected ways, and that taking responsibility for our actions is crucial. In the end, Karen decided to leave the neighborhood. It was a decision that brought peace back to our community, but it also served as a reminder of the consequences of our actions. Neighbor 3. "We're glad things are back to normal. It's a reminder that we all need to look out for each other." How do you think Karen's actions reflect on her character? And what does this say about accountability? Do you believe that she learned a valuable lesson from this experience? As we conclude this story, we invite you to share your own experiences with difficult neighbors. Have you ever had to navigate a situation like this? How did you handle it? Your stories can inspire others and help build stronger, more supportive communities. By sharing our stories, we can learn from each other and create a better environment for everyone. So, take a moment to share your own story using the hashtag #NeighborlyLove. This journey has taught us the importance of community and personal responsibility. It's a reminder that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. By being mindful of how we interact with our neighbors, we can build stronger, more harmonious communities. In the end, it's about creating a place where everyone feels welcome and valued, a place where we look out for each other and support one another through thick and thin. Neighbor 1. We've learned that even in difficult times, we can come together and make our community a better place. Neighbor 2. It's not just about being good neighbors, it's about being good people. What changes would you make in your community to foster better relationships among neighbors? Would you organize community events, start a neighborhood watch, or something else entirely? Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you have any stories or thoughts to share, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Until next time, stay positive and keep spreading love and kindness in your community.